Peace, family. What's up? This your brother, Mr. Holipsism. I'm here with Minister Dawud.
Peace, y'all. Sorry.
Alrighty. So we're going to get into this is Holip and Dawud Satellite Communities Part 2. And in case you guys didn't know what the first part was about, I'll read the description to you. The term satellite state designates a country that is formally independent in the world, under the heavy political and economic military influence or control from another country. The term satellite nation was first used to describe certain nations in the Cold War. These were nations that would align with, but also under the influence and pressure of the Soviet Union. The satellite nations of the Cold War were Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and East Germany. A Chinatown is an ethnic enclave of Chinese or Han people located outside of mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, or Taiwan, most often in an urban setting. Areas known as Chinatown exist throughout the world, including Asia, Australia, the Americas, Africa, and Europe. The term satellite community, aka AfrikaTown, within the context of an African-centered progressive and Black nationalist independent nation state, refers to communities anywhere African American and African diaspora victims, descendants, and P.O.Ws of the transatlantic slave trade, scattered throughout the diaspora, living as second and third class citizens within these foreign lands, reside. So we went into that and touched on it on the first show.
Right.
But we're going to touch on some different aspects of it in this show. So you want to take the ball and run?
No, you can set it off because you're going to be dealing with the more technical side, and I'm going to deal with the more kind of conceptual side this week. So I'm going to let you roll with the what's called that, and then I'm gonna come in because there's some things that need to be addressed, and I just want people to totally understand what we're saying, and in the midst of people trying to misrepresent what we're saying.
What particular aspect did you want me to touch on?
Well, I know you wanted to talk about the technical aspect of the satellite communities, but okay, so okay, let me do this.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Y'all know, Brother Minister Dawud, I am I am in the security field. Security as broad as can be, that starts from the physical, that works all the way to the electronic. In satellite communities, it takes on a different meaning, but it still has an electronic component to it. So in other words, understand something. What I want everybody to understand about satellite communities is that the goal of the satellite community is to provide a different ecosystem than the one that you experience in the Black community / ghetto of America. So in other words, if in fact you and I live in the Black community, then you know there's certain things that we have to deal with. We have to deal with a certain level of crime. We got to deal with a certain level of danger. We have to deal with a certain level of low quality of resources. And we also have to deal with the humiliation of other people owning the primary businesses in our community. So if you drink liquor, I don't, but you may, and I'm not mad at you for it. Well, you know that Black people don't own the liquor stores. If you go get your hair done and your nails done, well, some Black people own those stores, but even then too, Black people, we have been so brainwashed that we may go to somebody else to get our nails done, our hair did, you know, things like that. And so a satellite community that owes its allegiance to a host nation off the shores of America and Africa, that satellite community would have a totally different culture. Now, I was in the chat room of our good brother, Polygenesis, and Dynasty Amir's show. There was this whole ass nigga in this chat room trying to misrepresent what we stand for. I want to let y'all know, brothers and sisters, that a satellite community brings its own culture inherent in it. What is wrong with y'all? Do you really think that we would have a satellite community that just flew a flag but had the same American values that we're trying to get away from? Is that what y'all think? Do you think that we would have a community built on the same model as the one we're trying to get away from? So in other words, because there's so much to be spoken of when it talks about the satellite community before you even get to buildings, technology, and infrastructure in the way of the change of the environment and what is known as, or what the buzzword today in business as well as psychiatry, as ecosystem. So in other words, you are now controlling your context. You're controlling your borders. You're controlling the information that comes in and out. You're controlling the mood. You're controlling the emotion of how men deal with men and women deal with women. Do you honestly think that you would have the exact same thing as what's going on in the community? It's just that we got an AfrikaTown flag flying above it? If so, I kind of understand why you think that way, because that's what you're used to. But let me let you know, that's not what we're doing this for. What we're doing this is to change the context. So in other words, when you think of security, a person like myself who installs alarms, access control, cameras, fire alarms, and connected home. Security in a satellite community is a whole different animal than security in the black ghetto of America. Security in the satellite community is a whole different animal than the security of a high affluent black community in America, which you got to show me where that exists, because it doesn't exist anymore. Because in a satellite community that has BAIO principles in it, then you don't really have to worry about putting gates on your business. You don't have to worry about your cars being locked per se. I mean, you should lock them, but you don't have to worry about them being, armored and anything like that, because it's a community that, first of all, does not care about somebody telling on somebody else from robbing somebody, because we all trying to prosper. So there's no snitching rule in an AfrikaTown community. There's no shyness about giving up a person that commits crimes. So in my industry, what you call this is, it's called civilian surveillance. You understand the terminology? What it means is that the civilians look out for each other, that you will look into my backyard, I will look into your backyard. I will make sure that your children is taken care of. You'll make sure that my children is taken care of. We will make sure that everybody is good, because it's in the interest of the nation. So therefore, security in the interior of a satellite community is more policy and procedure. Security on the outside, of perimeter, I have to say, is going to be physical security, and it's also going to be electronic. And why is that? It's because those outside of our borders don't carry the same morals, cultures, and values of those inside of our borders. You want to add to that, Big Holip?
Keep in mind, I'm trying to be very, I guess diplomatic is the word right now.
He a whole ass nigga, period.
Oh, well, no, not in regards to that. It's just that I know that people listen to us, and I don't like the drama and the bullshit. And it seems to me that we've been getting a steady stream of attacks from bitch ass niggas outside of the BAIO who are not in the BAIO. And some of them, like this dude, is actually in the BAIO.
Yeah.
So he sent us an email sucking our dicks. Oh, brother this, brother that. Oh, brothers, we love you, brother. I love what the BAIO is all about. I love it. And then they get in the chat room and go in on us behind our backs.
Yep.
So you talking shit to us and cool. Everything is cool and nice when you're in front of us or when you're approaching us, but then you go behind us and you talk shit about us. If that's not a bitch, I don't know what is. And are people offended by me saying that?
I don't think so.
Because I'm really getting to the point where I'm trying to keep it together so I don't go completely in on these bitches. So that people don't think that this is how the BAIO rocks, or that this is what we're even involved in. Because the majority of the time when we're in our forums are functional, our forums are practical. We're talking about practical, functional things, and these bitch ass niggas ain't talking about shit.
Yep.
So if you think that the BAIO is not real, then take your bitch ass out of the BAIO and go to that real organization that's busting grapes right now. Where are they again?
Hell yeah.
Because in case you dumbasses didn't realize it, the only reason why we are getting the headway that we're getting right now, our greatest membership drive contributor is the goddamn conscious community.
Yep.
So you guys, you fucking idiots, keep doing the same thing that you've been doing, which is absolutely fucking nothing. Keep judging people, keep making people feel like they ain't shit.
Yep.
And watch what's going to happen. They're going to come to an organization with more of a big tent approach.
Yep.
All we care about is, do you want a nation of your own?
It's like, what's wrong with that though? I don't get it. What's wrong?
No, I know what's wrong, and the reason why I'm screaming on these dudes, but I just want the people that listen to understand this. For the most part, I would say 99.9% of the energy in the BAIO amongst the BAIO members is positive.
Yeah.
When we go into these groups and we're in our own forum, it's mainly positive. What you have is there's some bitch ass nigga who decided that he's gonna put spies. He said this. He's gonna put spies into the BAIO and he's gonna destroy the BAIO. This bitch.
Yeah. That's
So what you're seeing is you're seeing a whole lot of people trying to take us away from what we're doing. Now, I want to ask you a question. What is it that the BAIO is about? Land, infrastructure, nationhood, an independent nation state for our people, total social, economic, and political control over the context of our environment. I'm going to ask you another question. What are these dudes about?
Word.
What are these dudes about in this so-called conscious community that's busting any grapes out here that can compete with the message that we are putting out? Or the actions that we're putting out? Because we don't want to make it seem as if it's just messaging. We have actions going on as well because people are meeting with each other. We have social networks being formed, professional networks being formed. So what are they doing? What are they doing? Because if you feel that we are frauds, then take your bitch ass out of the BAIO and go with those niggas that you think is real.
Yep.
We don't want you. We don't need you. Who the fuck is you? We have so many functional people in our organization right now, people that want to get shit done, people that's tired of this rhetoric and this bullshit. But these motherfuckers want to get on some other shit. And you think that that's going to attract professional people? You think that's going to attract the average brother and sister who wants something more for their life and for their children? You think this is the message? They're going to be attracted to your message of misery and bullshit?
Right.
We just did a show last week talking about the process of land acquisition. We did a show last week talking about satellite communities. This is part 2. These shows are functional shows. These shows are about something.
Right.
What are these dudes talking about? Perms versus weaves? That's what you do? That's what y'all want?
Yep.
The fucking imaginary homosexual agenda? That's what y'all talking about? Light skin versus dark skin? Aretha Franklin's funeral? What the fuck?
Right.
And here we are talking about functional things with functional people, practical people, people that want something. Want a future for their people. And this is who you are fighting against. You're fighting against us. So when you keep in mind, when you fight against the BAIO, you just ain't fighting against Holip. You just ain't fighting against Minister Dawud. You're fighting against every single person that's in the BAIO. Because the BAIO are our members.
Yep.
There is no BAIO without our members. So when you calling us frauds, you calling everybody that's in the BAIO a fraud. That the reason for them being there is not a valid reason.
Although everybody ain't gonna fight for that though. And I'm sad to say, if you call us fraud, it's not everybody that's gonna rise up and fight for that. It's just only some of us.
I'm so tired of these bitch ass niggas, man. I'm telling you, and this is the light stuff. This is the diplomatic version of Holip that y'all getting right now.
Y'all don't know.
This is about as diplomatic as I'm fucking gonna get. Because I can go in and take this thing to a far, far dangerous level. Because you ain't just talking about me. You're talking about this organization. And if you think, you bitch ass nigga, that you're going to destroy the BAIO, I got some fucking news for you.
What up?
Try that shit, nigga. You bitch. Fucking faggot ass nigga. Anyway, you know what? Let me calm down, Benister. You take the right from here, because I'm telling you, I'm really in a bad place right now.
I'm sorry, bro.
I'm tired of niggas. I'm tired of niggas coming. These motherfuckers, the same niggas that go into other people's chat rooms, suck our dick offline. Sending us emails. Oh, I love what you're doing, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, yes. Land Infrastructure Nationhood. LIN for life. And then you go into another chat room talking shit about us?
That shit's crazy.
That's
and the thing is, I didn't even know he was doing it. I didn't know he was, because I just know him as being a bitch, and I didn't know he was running around, you know what I'm saying, praising the work that we was doing and stuff like that. Because, you know, they're not going to tag me because I'm a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I didn't even know he was doing that, but I just know from my battles with him on Facebook back in the day that, you know what I'm saying, and you're saying that this dude is down with the tour guide?
Who? I don't even know who you're talking about.
The Chizoro dude.
No, I know him. I don't know who the other guy is.
The tour guide?
If you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. But yo, either way, back to the subject, because a brother got kind of hay fever tonight, so I'm hoping that we could get this banged out. But what you call it? Back to the development of a satellite community. So, brothers and sisters, I think if I lay the foundation here, Holip, you can probably pick it up as far as what you wanted to talk about with the Singapore situation. But yeah, you understand something, brothers and sisters. Like, a satellite community is a whole change of an ecosystem. So therefore, in the midst of a satellite community, you would not need necessarily the kind of security that you would need in the white world, you know, at large. You know what I'm saying? In America at large, you would need a different situation inside of it. It's not to say that you wouldn't need security, but you would need more procedure and policy. Now, what do I mean by procedure and policy? To get a full secured system, you know what I'm saying? Like if you took over a business, a factory, something like that, you know, you got a multi-functioning building with hundreds of thousands of people that come and go every day. Security starts with procedures and policies. It starts with a person mapping out what to do when this happens, what to do when that happens. Now, we're supposed to be, I don't know, maybe not boycotting the NFL. But one thing that attracted me to football, because I didn't watch football when I was young, I was more of a basketball watcher. But when I got older, what attracted me to football as I started listening to sports radio, is the maniacal obsession of football coaches with preparation. Situational preparation, like what would happen on third down if this happened, what would happen on fourth down if that would happen, because that's akin to what security is all about. Security, a true security practitioner goes into a situation and says, what would happen if this happens, what would happen if that happens? See, if I go into your home, I'm going to see something that you wouldn't see. If I go into your business, I'm going to see something that you wouldn't see. And then I would recommend the proper countermeasures to what you may not see. So in other words, in a satellite community, the first thing that we would make sure is that there's proper lighting at nighttime, because criminal activity happens when there's a lack of light. It's a spiritual principle, but it's also a physical principle. And so when there's proper lighting and the buildings are designed, because I would have to get with Jonathan and Brother Dendado on this though, if the buildings are designed that everybody's property can see everybody else's property, that retards crime too, because criminals like to go undetected. A true criminal does. Now, you know, you may watch movies and you see somebody and they on some gangster stuff running up in places. Brothers and sisters, that's not reality in real life. In real life, criminals like hiding, they like time, and they like concealment. In a satellite community properly designed with security in mind, because I have to be a part of that planning process, everybody could see each other's property. And at any given time, you live in one place, 3 other properties can see your place. So if somebody tried to rob your place or what you call it, or defile your place, 3 other people could see it. And so therefore, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be any electronic security on the inside, but I would say it would be minimal. It would more so be us training one another. What would happen if an outsider came in? What would happen if there was a break-in? What would happen if a child was abducted? What would happen? And there is technology out there that tracks and traces children. You may have been to a hospital before, and you see that when you have a child, I had 5 children, so I've been to 5 births. When a child is born, they tag a child, and you may think that they tag this child basically for identification purposes. But within that tag is a transponder, and once you go beyond a certain limit, all doors lock down on a children ward. I've put that security in, I've maintained it, I've fixed it. It's a headache, but it works. And so therefore, likewise, we would have these kind of things in place, because in America, all you have is Amber Alerts. And to be very honest with you, Amber Alerts do help, but how many of you have been riding on the highway and you saw a child running across the highway? Not many of us. How many of you have been riding down the street and you saw a baby crawling down the street, or somebody running with a baby looking suspicious? So Amber Alerts don't always work. So you need something in place that deals with child abductions so that we can minimize that and people wouldn't be able to get away with that. All these things would be factored into planning for satellite communities, because brothers and sisters, you can talk about you can talk about culture all you want to. You can talk about religion and spirituality all you want to. But I'm sorry, these things have to be dealt with first. At least they have to be in the same discussion. Because I don't care who you are, you will not be able to marry, procreate, you will not be able to do any of those things unless it's secure, it's safe, and people are free to do what they need to do. Am I lying, bro? You disagree?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm coming down. Don't worry.
It's all good.
I'm
So
coming down.
in addition to that, there's a saying out there, and the saying is, the black woman is the least protected woman on the planet. Now, I'm not looking at the chat room. I don't know what y'all talking about or saying, but, that's a saying that's out there. And some people fall on the side of this being true, and some people fall on the side that this is not true. But here's what I would say to you. In the satellite community, there would be a policy, procedure, and physical measures in place so that black women are the most protected women in America. And to be very honest with you, that's something that, people pay lip service to. But in all reality, you need policies and procedures for that. You need policies and procedures. If you catch an agent, what would you do? If you're in the chat room today and you caught an agent in the Afrikan satellite community, what would you do? Because remember, you're on American soil and you can't do whatever you feel like doing. You do know that, right? You can't do whatever you feel like doing. You think, because you watch Power and you see all of these people getting stuff like that, and you'd be like, oh, we're gonna take this, somebody. Anyway, we won't get into that. But listen, brothers and sisters, Power is a movie. It's a TV show. I watch it. I love it, but it's not reality. I used to watch this show called Respect Life out of Brooklyn. Man, the star of that show, he was getting rid of bodies left and right. You know what I'm saying? All he had to do was give it to his Russian friend. His Russian friend somehow put it in a car and he would get rid of it. And he'd pay him like $10,000 or whatever. Yo, that's not reality. DNA can be found everywhere. So you got to find out, what's the policy of dealing with somebody that's a traitor? What's the policy of somebody like take this Chisoro dude that was talking greasy about us in that chat room. What would you do if this dude was in your satellite community? How would you handle it? And that's something that we really got to discuss, brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we got to discuss. But here's the thing. The thing is that once we discuss it and we agree on something, it becomes policy. So these are some of the things that we really need to talk about, because in my judgment, when you look at developed nations, damn, the freaking chat room is lit. When you deal with developing nations, right? And you say, well, you know what I'm saying? India has developed themselves. China's developed themselves. Japan. These places, they already have their culture in place. And we as a people, if we're going to build a satellite culture, we need to make sure that we have our culture in place. We need to make sure more so we have our policies and procedures in place. It's a policy of the satellite community that Black people are given precedence on the businesses. It's a preference on the businesses. It's a policy that when children are born into our satellite communities, there are midwives on deck that deal with holistic health. I mean, these are the kind of things that we need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the kind of things that we really want to talk about. And so when you have a show and the show's talking about your nation, your new nation, these are the things I like to talk about. I don't want to talk about, well, we got to make sure that, you know, when we have our own nation, we can become one with the universe. And we got to make sure that our vibration is risen. You know, come on, yo. How
Can I
long
jump in? Can I jump in with that?
Absolutely. That was
In
my
other words, in other words, we don't want to talk about the same shit y'all been hearing about for about 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 fucking years without anything getting done. I'll say this, and if you're an intelligent person, I don't even have to go in too much on this. If you're an intelligent person, if you're a fucking moron, or if you're somebody that's a drama queen and you love drama and beef and bullshit, then you will find a home in the conscious community. The conscious community is a perfect place for you.
word.
But if you're a person that's for something functional and for something progressive and for some people who are free thinkers and progressive thinkers, then the BAIO would be the home for you.
Word.
So yeah, you have a place. It depends on your personality. Because these guys have been talking this bullshit for how many years? And what do we have to show for it?
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
What type of forward progress has been made in the years that they've been talking this bullshit?
Not a damn, not 1 inch.
And I gotta address this whole, oh God, there's so much stuff. It's so much bullshit that I feel like we keep touching on and touching on and touching on and touching on that it makes me believe that people either are not listening or they're being intentionally like this just so they can piss me off. Are you going to Uganda, nigga? Are you going to get your passport and you going to Uganda? Because in Uganda, they have a zero tolerance on the whole homosexual thing. If you're a homosexual in Uganda, they kill you.
Yep.
So you're here in America, you bitch. They don't have that policy here in America. In America, these same people that got a fucking problem are living right next to people, working right next to people that's homosexual. And you ain't doing a goddamn thing about it, except complaining on YouTube.
Yep.
So when you going to get your passport and go to Uganda so you can go on your homo killing spree on the weekend?
Yep.
You full of shit, niggas. And because I point out that you full of shit, and I point out that you a homo, because that's what you are.
Yep.
When I point it out, for some strange reason, I get accused of being pro-homosexual.
My
Because
God.
I'm pointing out the fact that you gay. You ain't fooling nobody, nigga.
It's like, why they keep bringing it up, bro? Like,
Because they're gay.
I don't understand it.
What
Like,
else? I'm not sitting around thinking about homosexuality. What the fuck? Why do we keep having to constantly address this bullshit?
I don't
Because
know.
you got a bunch of gay ass niggas who's first of all attracted to men,
Yep.
but confused because they're attracted to men. So then they want to do that fucking that reverend that passed a few years ago? Eddie Long. They want to do that Eddie Long strategy of getting on the pulpit, talking shit about homosexuals, but in the meantime, you fucking around with young boys. But then you want to twist that around on me?
Yo,
Man,
and you know, you know the illness is if they knew us, like in real life, that they would know like we was some of the most heterosexual dudes you will ever meet. Like,
man, please. I don't even feel the need to express that. And I Am Lucy says, I'm female and I ain't fuck with homos. And you better not go to the conscious community, sis. Because I'm telling you, all of these dudes that claim that they so anti-homosexual is a bunch of homos. They ain't hollering at you. Trust me. They'll holler at your brother. They'll holler at your man.
I don't know, man.
Tired of dealing with these homo ass niggas, man. I really am tired of dealing with them. And don't try to put that off on the BA. The BAIO is about land, infrastructure, and nationhood. That's what the BAIO is about. You want to bring that other shit into it, it's because that's in you, nigga. That's your cipher. I defy you to show me somebody within the BAIO that's kicking some pro-homosexual agenda in our forum.
Not one of us.
Prove it, nigga.
Not one
Don't
of us.
just talk shit. Prove it. Copy and paste.
Not a single one of us.
You bitch. You can't prove nothing. All you can do is try to derail what we're doing and try to take us off course. But it ain't gonna fucking happen. Fucking homos.
Let's get
Reason
back.
why you so concerned. Reason why the homosexual agenda is on your mind is because the homosexual agenda is you. I heard niggas talking about we ain't gonna have homosexuality. I don't want my kids surrounded by homosexuals. Well, then are you gonna give your kids up for adoption? Cause you gay, nigga. They hanging around you. And they actually have more of a threat against a nigga like you than they would about anybody else in the BAIO.
Word.
Niggas want to front. I'm so tired. Listen, man, I'm from Brooklyn, man. And Dawud knows he's from Brooklyn. I know bitch ass niggas. If bitch ass niggas was, you can bet on them like OTB, I'd be a rich man. Who you think you fooling, dude? Who you think you fooling? I know about this whole concept. You ever heard of the concept in psychology of projection?
Yep. Yep.
Projection is when you are really about something, the way that you avoid it, it's sort of like, all right, I'll make it even simpler. You know when you fart and you scrunch up your nose and like, oh shit, who farted? That's projection.
Word up.
That's projection.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what these niggas do. You about this whole homo gays. There's dudes. I don't want to mention no names, but there's dudes in their lectures. They go on a rant about homosexuality and they post up pictures from gay sites.
Yep.
So let's think about that.
Yep. Let's
think about that.
How did you know where to
Yeah. How did you get those pictures, nigga? So you online searching for gay content so you can put it into your lecture to talk about how we shouldn't be. Oh, you see these homo? Look at that nasty shit. Oh shit, you see this? This is the type of shit y'all niggas shouldn't be engaging in. Do you honestly think that you fooling somebody, nigga?
Here, let me confiscate that real quick.
But you want to try to twist that around on the BAIO? No, nigga, you a homo. Because ain't nobody, you go into the BAIO and find me anywhere that's talking about some pro-homosexual shit. Find it. I dare you.
But that's what this is all about. This is all about the fact that you can't. It's like it's nothing but science and information being shared in the Facebook in the Facebook group as well as the name site, and that's what they got to keep using because they're looking for one of y'all that's weak enough to listen to that. That's what they're looking for. You being around us.
Can I touch on that briefly?
Word up, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people, and I can say this is addressing the BAIO members. Because just because you BAIO don't mean that I can't call you on bullshit. Because I'm going to call you on some bullshit. When Holip gets attacked or when any of us but I'm going to talk about me. Because I seem to be the lightning rod right now. So when I get attacked, I know for a fact that there's certain brothers who I know that will jump in and bust you in your mouth.
Word up.
And then you got other people who sit back and lay back in the cut, get some popcorn or some old, well, I assume, damn, what Holip gonna do next? Let's call it for what it is.
Word.
Why aren't you jumping up and defending the thing that you want to be a part of? Why is it that somebody says something negative and the first thing you do is you take it as a valid complaint? Are you not around us? Have you not spoken to us? Have you not been in our forums?
Word.
So when these bitch ass niggas come up with this bullshit, why they even have your ear to listen to it?
Right. Right.
Or is it that easy? Because if somebody come to me about Bell, trust me, nigga, you full of shit.
And it's on and popping though. Yeah, it's on and
Somebody
popping.
coming to me about Minister talking some greasy shit, nigga, you full of shit.
Word.
You can't come to me with my brothers and sisters talking bullshit. And I'm just supposed, oh, well, damn, you seem to have a point. Really? Oh, it makes a good point. Get the fuck out of here, man.
I went right after that nigga, man. I went right after him. And then you should have seen how he bitched out. Oh, I was tagged in the email, nigga.
Yeah, I know. See, I always I'm telling you, y'all, I know I gotta calm Dawud down. If somebody goes after me, Dawud is gonna go after them. He don't need no permission from me. He don't need no cosign from me. He's gonna do it because that's what he does. My boy Max 611. If you say something about me, he's gonna go at you. And I'm the same way with y'all. If somebody some dude says something about Bell and Dyna's last chat, then I ripped into his ass. Bell, you're going to talk about Bell. Bell is one of the most beautiful sisters that I've ever personally met.
Word up.
Her spirit is so beautiful and so loving. And you're going to go at her? See, I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying to keep it together. Like I said, this is the diplomatic version of me right now. I'm being very diplomatic right now because you're dealing with a Brooklyn dude at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
At the end of the day, you're dealing with a Brooklyn. If you motherfuckers is thinking that there's some bitch around here, you're gonna be in for a horrible fucking surprise.
Huh.
You're gonna be in for a horrible surprise. And I'm gonna tell you something. I ain't even a tough guy. I'm not even a thug. But check out where I come from and ask yourself, how did he survive in that environment if he's not a thug, if he's not a tough guy? How did he survive? Was he out? Was he in his house all this time? Was he hiding?
This nigga here.
David, with all due respect, shut the fuck up and listen till I'm done with what I'm saying.
This nigga here.
You really picking a bad time for this.
Word up.
Because I've been holding this shit in for weeks. So if this makes you feel uncomfortable, you can leave until I'm done.
I do want to answer one of these questions. I guess you don't like irritated genie. That's mostly all he talks about. Listen, bro, Clyde Lewis. He said, brother Clyde Lewis said, I guess you don't like irritated genie. That's mostly all he talks about. Bro, listen, it is not we don't like this one or we don't like that one. They don't talk. We don't have the same conversation. So in other words, it is immature for me to dislike you because you don't have my conversation. And it's immature to you to dislike me because we don't have your conversation. We limit ourselves to our conversation, which we think is broad enough for us to talk about, because we can go on for years, centuries, talking about land, infrastructure, nationhood, and how that's the cure to the problems of the black man and woman in America. There's no reason for us to have the same conversation that our good brother Irritated Genie has. You have never seen none of us go after him or his talking points because it's just simply not our conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to engage in this. Listen, I've said this. How many times have I said this? And I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. I don't listen to the talking heads in the conscious community. I don't have, and keep in mind, I don't go at them. If y'all can see in these videos, like the only people that I've gone after, like is people that I've gotten into with personally. Like me and Yvette Carno got into it on Facebook. So I feel free to talk about her.
Right.
But I don't spend a whole lot of time on her. I just say what I have to say and I keep it moving. I don't have no shows dedicated to her.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, she's irrelevant to what we're trying to do.
Right.
All these other people that y'all guys talk about, I don't have nothing against them personally, but I'm not on the same page with them. None of these guys is in their forums every week or every day talking about land infrastructure, nationhood, and having our own shit. They're just not doing it. They're usually a part of the morality police.
Word.
We're gonna sit around all day talking about interracial relationships and how if you date this person, you a coon. Okay, let's have an hour show dedicated to that shit. And at the end of the show, what has been solved?
Yep.
Because that person is still gonna be dating whoever they're dating.
Yo, but there was a lot of science in that though, son.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know the science. The science is if you a nigga that's constantly swirling around homosexuality 24/7, it's because you're gay. Now y'all to take it however you want to take it. I'm saying it. I'm not talking about nobody in specific, in particular. I'm talking about everybody who makes that the centerpiece of their ideology.
Yo, check this out. Check this out. Let us walk back a certain. Let me and you. We had a good discussion earlier today while I was installing some panic hardware. So let's talk about what we talked about earlier today, which is this: why did we form the BAIO? And why we know we will not unite all the conscious groups. For real.
All right. Let me tell that story. I'll give my personal story.
Okay.
When I was younger.
And this is why, Sister Lucy, I want to have you on because I know you have a similar story, but you know, me and you will talk. But go ahead, Holip.
When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I would say.
Kofi? Sorry.
Yeah, what's up, Kofi? When I was in my 20s, I was listening to all of these conscious community groups. I was listening to all of. I won't mention names. Y'all know. Everybody in the community knows who these conscious groups are. So I've listened to all of their ideologies, the Dr. Yorks and all their books and all of this stuff and compiling information and stuff like that.
Right.
I listened to these guys. And as a young person and a naive person, me and my circle with my cousin, my nephew, Mark, a couple of other friends, we all used to go to these places. We actually went to York, used to have an open Q&A in the Muslim community there. The Ansar Allah Muslim community, I believe that's what it was called.
At that time, it's the Ansars, yes.
Yeah, in Bushwick. And we went there. We would go there and we would, ask them questions and stuff like that. So we've been challenging these people for a while. But what we said, the conclusion that we came to was this. All of these groups say in their own way that the white man is the enemy. Now they can say he's the devil. They can say that he's Esau. They can say that he's this. He's some cursed albino. Whatever mythology you want to wrap it around. The basic principle is that the white man is the problem. That guy that's sitting there with that briefcase in Wall Street, or the guy you see walking, the guys in power in government, those are the problem. Every one of those groups universally agree that this is the guy that we have to deal with, and this is the guy that that's causing problems for us on this planet Earth right now. So as a young, naive person who's only thinking about my people gaining power and having success in the future, we said, well, why don't we try to unite these groups?
Right.
Because that's the common denominator.
Right.
The common denominator is we can all rally against the enemy. It's like that part in the movie where these gangs have been fighting each other, but then an outside gang, a big gang, comes and tries to invade the neighborhood. All of those dudes that were fighting against each other will get together and fight against the outside threat. This is what we're used to that. You go to the movies, this is what usually happens. So what do? We interviewed every single member, like anybody that was of substance. We actually, I don't know if you know him, Minister, but we interviewed Conrad Muhammad.
Whoa. Time out. Like Ghostface Killer would say, don't disrespect my gig, Joe. Don't disrespect my gig. I idolized Conrad Muhammad.
Yeah.
When I was younger. Idolized. I patterned myself at the time when I was.
Oh, and let me preface this before you get into it. He's a cool dude.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, he's a cool. Please don't nobody think that I'm getting on Khalid. Oh no, I'm Conrad Muhammad. Oh, and I met Khalid Muhammad too. If y'all
Yeah,
want to know that.
well, me too. I got a story about that, but they
Yeah.
forced Conrad out because they was
I know,
yeah, they
I
was
know,
nervous. But
I
we can
know.
talk about that
But
too.
he was a real brother.
Yep,
Conrad was a real dude.
yep,
But I just say that to say that we didn't just interview no lightweights.
right,
We interviewed the right hand man of Dr. York at the time
right.
because he was friends with my cousin. We interviewed not Silas Muhammad, obviously, but somebody from that faction.
Right, right.
We interviewed we went down to 125th Street and we interviewed a member from the Nation of Gods and Earths.
Okay.
We interviewed just about everybody that you can think of. At the time, the Moors wasn't really kicking like that. So I guess that was the only ones we didn't touch on. Like they didn't really have a big following like the rest of these groups did.
It was kind of dead during those times.
Yeah. So we went to them and then we talked to them. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that these guys were disrespectful. I'm not, because everybody that we interviewed was cool.
Right.
But the basic premise that we got from when we interviewed everybody is the general consensus was that person over there is not selling weight on my block, so they're not a problem for me.
Right.
I mean, if I want to keep it in street terms. So even though the white man, they all universally agreed the white man is the enemy, none of them would be willing to work with the other groups because, and I hate to say this, and this was something that was really difficult for me to accept, but I have to accept it because you can't just run away from truth.
Right.
These guys are not interested. These organizations are not interested in nationhood. They're not interested in black people getting political, socioeconomic, and political control over their reality.
Right.
If y'all listen to Diana's show and you've listened to Kala, you've heard them say, I mean, we have a bunch of different phrases for it, but I believe the phrase that they use was, what is it? Y'all got to help me with this. They say something about, what's the term, Minister, when they say that is it basically where you're trying to fit in?
Oh, cultural cohesion?
No. It's a term that Kala uses where you try to fit. It's like black people who try to fit into the existing white supremacist structure, who ain't really trying to bust no grapes, but they just trying to fit in. I'm drawing a blank on the term.
Me
it's
too.
Not
I know
Negro,
exactly what you're trying to say, though.
Not Negro stalling tactic, because I know that one, but it's a term that he uses, and I'm drawing a complete freaking blank with it right now. It'll probably hit me while I'm talking. But in the meantime, that's basically the gist of it.
Right.
You have these people who want to exist within the existing infrastructure and system that's going on right now.
Right. Can I say something real quick? Well, hold on, 1 second. Brother Clyde Lewis, none of us is saying the conscious community was bad. I come out of that. You know what I'm saying? That's where I get my discipline from.
Right.
Understand, we're talking about why they wouldn't work with each other. Go ahead.
Right. Exactly. Like, keep in mind, like I said, I don't have time. I don't want to play the blame game.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all of us are existing within this structure and we have not moved forward. So we can play the blame game all we want. I can sit back and blame the conscious community and say, oh, you're the reason. But what point does, like, imagine if that's all I did. If my channel was about blaming the conscious community, then there wouldn't be a BAIO.
Truth be told.
I would just be on here talking shit about the conscious community. No, what I said was, because people ask, well, why is the BIO different? I have to explain the difference.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's it. But we saying that we're doing this shit wrong. We need to start doing it right.
Right.
So it's not dogging the conscious community. Because like I said, I learned from everybody coming up. All of these groups I learned from. There's certain things that's in my mind that happen dealing and interacting with certain. That's why you can't really dog the Nation of Islam for me. You can't. I know too many good brothers from the Nation of Islam, brothers who influenced me in a positive way.
Right.
So I can't just throw them out. Like, it's like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I may have a problem with the overall, because the overall organization under the dude, I can have multiple problems with that. But that don't mean that I hate the people. You know what I'm saying? I met too many good brothers. Too many brothers that were Ansar Allah Muslims.
Yep.
Too many good brothers that was Nation of Gods and Earths. Too many.
Yep. Still do.
Like I still think of something. There was something that, and me and my cousin joke about this because it was so memorable. A young cat rolled up on an older god and asked him what the day's mathematics was.
Right.
On an older god. And the older guy said this, and I'll never forget this. He said, today's mathematics is me, tomorrow's mathematics is me, and every other day after that is going to be me. Like, and I just thought that was the deepest thing I had heard, because he basically like, what the fuck are you in my face for? Do you know who I am?
Word.
So it's like, it's too many examples of brothers and stuff like that. So let's not be myopic. Let's not be petty. Let's look at this and let's understand what's actually being said. What's being said is that we've been doing things wrong for a long time. And we got to look at how we were doing it wrong, why we were doing it wrong, and what we need to do to make it right.
Right.
Right now, currently in this context, because like some people feel that the BIO is being disrespectful to people who have been traveling to the continent.
Oh boy.
Well, then explain the fact that Dynast Amir is a member of the BIO.
Right.
Can you reconcile that contradiction?
Right.
Here's a brother who goes to the continent on a regular basis. Why is he not feeling disrespected by the BIO?
Word.
There's plenty of people actually that's on the continent that are BAIO members.
Yep.
Are they feeling disrespected by the BAIO? So what you're doing is you're creating straw men, and then you're getting mad at us because we're knocking them down.
Word. Yo, let me throw out my story real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, brothers and sisters. So, before you ask, I am an independent practitioner of the construct known as Teaching Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Nation of Islam. Don't follow Farrakhan or any leader out there. Okay? So I know I got to say that almost every show we have because you're going to ask. But either way, what happened to me was this. You know what I'm saying, like grew up in the nation and became a minister eventually. And then somewhere in 2000, when my mentor passed away, he passed away in 2000 on my birthday, believe it or not. And so what ended up happening is after that, I took the mantle. I already was running my own temple, but I took the mantle of what I was doing. And eventually I got on Blog Talk Radio. And when I got on Blog Talk Radio, I did my show for a couple of years. And the show started changing me. As I said on Dynast channel, the show started changing me. Because when I first got on there, I was fighting for the right for all of these movements to exist, even though they always trying to crap on me. And I'm talking about there was 5%ers trying to crap on me, Nuwabians trying to crap, especially them, Israelite, everybody was trying to crap on me. I had a lot of people who had love for me, but I had, individuals from all these groups trying to crap on me because it's an ego thing. And when you have a voice and you know what you're doing and you're creative, you're always going to have people that come after you with the ego. So eventually what happened is the show started changing me. And what I realized is that regardless to all of these fights I'm having with these people from these various conscious groups, you will not be able to build something sustainable in America. And what happened, brothers and sisters, is that the FBI files had come out about the FBI and COINTELPRO attempting to change the narrative of all of these groups, not just the nation, but all of these groups. And as time went on and the internet and information came out, what you begin to understand is that all those leaders that were assassinated, it was the FBI behind that and the CIA. So I began to realize if you build something in America and the headquarters is in America, nigga, you finished. You are finished. you have no chance building something here in their territory. And eventually what happened is that through a good brother that I'm still friends with today, a scientist named African Warlord X, I met Kala. Kala introduced me to Holip. We all got together. And at first I was a nation within the nation guy. I wanted to build a nation here and, you know, and all that other stuff. But then what I ended up having, what ended up happening was I began to understand, no, we need a nation of our own off the shores of America. And that's how it began to go down. And so for me, that's kind of the short end of the story. But the reality of it is I realized the same thing. And what I realized is that when you talk about all of these groups coming together, what ended up happening is just like, okay, so let me give you a good example of it. Although I don't follow Minister Louis Farrakhan and really don't care for him, to be very honest with you. If you saw Aretha Franklin's funeral, then you saw an example of the conscious community, because everybody got to speak but him. Why is that? Why is that? It's because there was envy and jealousy there, because they knew that if he hit that microphone, he was going to blow all those preachers out the water. And the ego kicked in. And so therefore, you can't even put your ego aside for a funeral. You can't even put your ego aside for a funeral. And to me, that was just poetic license right there. It was art imitating life. Because that's what I've seen on all my years, even in the local community. Whenever a whole lot of men get together, and women too, that have different ways of looking at things, what ends up happening is the ego kicks in, and they say, nah, we can't let this person speak, or we can't let this person do this or that. Even now today, I'd be a part of groups, and people would deal with everybody but me, or people would deal with everybody but this one or that one. You know what I'm saying? So the reality of it, and Vic Shepard, I agree with you. He's a musician at a musician's funeral, and y'all didn't let him talk. You know what I'm saying? And again, let me give you my disclaimer. I don't give a damn about Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? And I've said that on many occasions. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? But in the context of what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And the man knew Aretha Franklin. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that shows you that so many years later, we still can't even get together at somebody's funeral. You know what I'm saying? So what ended up happening was this. What ended up happening is when I met Kala and I met Holip, I realized that the beautiful thing that we had, because why? Because Kala is an African-centered Christian, and Holip practices African spirituality. And me, I'm a Muslim from the Nation of Islam, but I kind of have a lot of those different philosophies in my kind of philosophy also. But nevertheless, we can all come together, and I don't have to talk about Islam. Kyle don't have to talk about Christianity. None of us have to talk about anything but building a nation centered around strong infrastructure, acquisition of land, and the policies and procedures that make you have nationhood. And so that's really what it was all about. And so when people ask us, why can't you work with this one? Why can't you work with that one? Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. If you're connected to me on Facebook, I look very young, don't I? I'm 47 years old. And I don't have time for the bullshit. I really don't. That's like you know what I'm saying, being on your block, and there's that chick that you don't get along with, sister, and you say, everybody says, how come you can't have her over for dinner? You too old for that. You know what I'm saying? You too old for that. Or it's like that dude.
It's not honest players.
Exactly.
It's not honest. See, you can bring people together if there's honest players. What it is that you have to dismiss the fact that these people are not trying to get together. And this is the thing that people need to understand. They're not trying to do what we're doing. Because when we approach these groups and we talk about land infrastructure, keep in mind, with the BAIO, it's not like the Borg from Star Trek.
Indeed.
If you have your own individual brand, you can still be a member of the BAIO. Nobody's telling you to merge into invisibility with us.
Right.
We love your distinction.
Right. Right.
And you made an excellent point. You know, you put it in a way that I never even really thought about what you just said. People are wondering why we are so able to deal with people of other ideologies, even ideologies that we don't agree with, because we've done it with ourselves.
Yep. Yep.
Like you said, we have all these different ideologies, but we all came together on the LIN. So
Exactly.
if we were able to find, God damn it, y'all, and I'm talking to the people that's listening to us and listening to the conscious community. Haven't you, and I'm speaking to each person who's listening to this right now in the chat room and who's listening. Haven't you ever wondered why we can't come together on anything? Because that's all I see. I see people complaining. Well, black people, we can't do this. Black people, we can't do that. Why don't we work together? Da, 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 da. Here it is. You found an organization that have been able to bring different ideologies together. You have people that believe in God and who don't believe in God.
Right.
Who
Right.
are able to go to an organization and rally around the principle of land, infrastructure, nationhood. So this thing y'all kept talking about, this thing that you claim you fucking wanted, it exists.
Yep.
And what are you doing to it?
Yep.
Here
Yep.
it is. The very same thing that you guys have been asking for exists right now.
Yep.
And what are you doing?
Yep.
You attacking it? So then what the sense that I'm getting from the people outside of the BAIO is that you want to be miserable. And if anybody comes with a solution, you're going to break that solution down so that you can go back to being miserable. Because being miserable is an industry in the conscious community.
Word.
They can't exist. They can't live. They can't thrive unless the people are miserable. But what I'm wondering is how do you keep continuously telling people that they can't do something and they keep supporting you?
Word.
I'm going to keep supporting you. I'm going to keep PayPaling you. I'm going to keep Patreoning you. I'm going to keep doing all of this shit, go funding you so you can tell me that we'll never build anything of our own.
Word.
I'm not even talking about the misery merchants. I'm talking about the people. When are you going to stop that shit? And when are you going to start doing something that works in your best interest?
Word.
And that's for each and every person that's listening to this, everybody in the chat room. You got to ask that question to yourself.
Right.
Because here it is. I want you all to think about this. The two lightning rods in the BAIO is me and College Genesis. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
That's a fair statement. I want you to show me College Genesis PayPal.
Right.
Show me College Genesis Patreon page.
Right.
Show me College Genesis GoFundMe. Has Kala asked you for one fucking dime?
Not one. Not one.
And then you're gonna question him like he's not no good. Like first of all, this brother is out here. He's got his own business.
Right.
He doesn't need you.
Yep.
He can throw a towel in on this whole fucking conscious community thing and live a pretty decent life.
Yep.
Here he is taking his own free time. He's not getting paid for it. As a matter of fact, money is coming out of his pocket.
Exactly.
Money's coming out of my pocket.
Exactly.
And you sitting up here questioning, like we're frauds? No, nigga, you a fraud. And anybody you following is a fucking fraud.
Word up. Word up.
You want to see, I'm telling you, and like I said, this is the diplomatic version of Holip right now. Because what's getting me heated, what's getting me seriously heated, you can talk about me. I don't have no problem with nobody not liking me. Because these niggas is homosexuals anyway, and they're attracted to my eyes. So we already know what's up. They're attracted to my eyes. They're attracted to my voice. They think I'm cute, but they don't know how to approach me because they know I'm knocking them the fuck out.
Right.
So what they do is what little boys do to girls in school and play with their ponytails and get into fights with them because they like them. So I know what's going on with that shit. I can handle that. But if you try to do something to the BAIO because you fucking with nationhood.
Yep.
You fucking with the one thing that our people can turn to from this goddamn conscious community and these fucking misery merchants.
Word.
You start fucking with that nigga, and you're gonna know who Holip is. On the real.
We running out of time, son. So let me I want to talk about one thing about satellite communities before we close out. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about relationships. Okay. Now, there is a lot of direct and indirect trolling on our efforts to build a nation and a satellite community, and most of it really comes from the issue that we've been addressing, which is, you know, the non-existent stuff, but also relationships. And people are saying, well, you know what I'm saying, BAIO is not about family, it's not about family. And no, I don't want to listen. I don't want to. I'm not saying this as a trolling statement or anything like that, but I do want to clear some things up, okay? And that is this here, brothers and sisters. Understand something. To create a satellite community that is built off the principle of African-centered progressives, okay? I mean, it's bugged out. I have to do this, but I got to do it. You know what I'm saying? When you build a community on those principles, there's certain things that you have to deal with, and there's certain things you don't have to deal with. Now, we understand that in the first years of a satellite community, you're still going to have certain things. You're still going to have that we're not going to tolerate, but it's going to be there. You're still going to have domestic violence. You're still going to have child support. You're still going to have all of that stuff. Because in all reality, you're still going to have dudes who think with the older mind. But what you need to understand is once you write policy and procedure, then you have a working model to work that shit out. Basically, work it out that we don't have to deal with it no more. But you can't really work it out unless you have your own community. Now, here's one thing that you really have to understand. Being on the continent in your own nation and being in the satellite community is two different things. Because if you're in your satellite community, this is what I've seen in my experience. And that is that a lot of time, brothers and sisters, what a person will do is if they're crooked or corrupt, what they'll do is they'll be in the satellite community until you have to charge them with something. Then they'll run out of it to the white man. Have you seen that, Holip?
Yeah.
That's what happens. So satellite community is not a digital bullet, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, we got a satellite community. We'll never have to deal with child molesters and this, that, and the next thing. No, you will. You definitely will. However, the spirit, the mind, and the accord of everybody there will keep it to a minimum. And then when we have to deal with it, we write policies and procedures to deal with it.
Oh, but minister, let me throw this into the mix because this is the thing. There can't be any problems.
That's right, because it's a utopia. It's like Wonder Woman's Island, right?
Yeah, there can't be any problems. No matter how you feel, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is the reason why I'm not so amped up and crazy about the homosexual agenda is because homosexuals are just they exist.
Right.
It's like you being mad about it is like you being mad that the sun comes up in the morning. The fact is, what can you do about it?
Right.
I think the only thing you can do about it is not be gay.
Exactly.
And I think I'm doing my part with that.
Exactly. It's like
my woman agree. So what else? It's like there's scorpions that exist. There's black mambas that exist. There's poisonous. You go into certain water, you'll die. There's certain things in nature that'll kill you. It exists.
Right.
Just because and I've said this before, and I don't understand how people think that the mere existence of something means that it's a problem or it's an epidemic.
Right.
Just because it exists, that means it's an epidemic.
Right.
There's piranhas somewhere in the world. I mean, I never personally have ran into them.
Right.
But I want to address something because I don't want to get too far off track. Mr. Cat kind of put leading me in the direction that I was going. He said the BAIO is the most family-oriented organization we've got because it is only through the control of our infrastructure that we can create a healthy family environment for our families to live in. Thank you for existing, Mr. Cat.
Why are you like one of the only ones that get that? I don't understand.
Thank you for existing because it's people like that that give me a sense of sanity. Because when I talk and I speak, I get the sense that you understand what I'm saying. So thank you for just being you. But let me touch on that because when I saw that comment, it was addressing something that I was leaning toward. If what these guys are saying is true and what we're not saying and what we're saying is not true, then why haven't it been done yet?
Right. Right.
Take the BAIO out of the equation. Take land infrastructure nationhood out of the equation. Take Holip and Kala, which y'all hate so much, out of the fucking equation. We don't exist anymore.
Word.
How come this philosophy that you kick into us has not been manifested into reality yet?
Right.
How come you haven't been able to produce this moral people that we can go forward and build a nation with? Why hasn't it been done yet?
Yep. Yep.
So there it is. You can tell the tree by the fruit it bears.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, listen. It's like, understand something. The tide of the people really controls the culture. So 90% or maybe 95% of us, because we don't know who is not, but 95% of us that we notice in the BIO are heterosexual. Men like women and women like men. Okay. Now, if there's a small contingent of people who are either closet or open homosexuals that are in a satellite community, how long do you think that's going to last? How long do you think it's going to last? How long do you think that a person in the midst of all of that black love is going to last? And so for me, this is kind of why we don't even really address this, is because we know that, see, that's one of the reasons why last week we brought up the Million Man March. It's not that the Million Man March is a great thing per se, but what it is we talk about the spirit, the culture, and the tide of the people. You know what I'm saying? The tide of the people. So therefore, if you were there, there was a way, an unspoken code of conduct that everybody lived by. And nobody thought of looking at another person in the way of, yo, I'm gonna beat your ass, nigga. Nobody looked at anybody like that. Nobody looked at anybody like I'm gonna rob you. Nobody looked at anybody like I'm gonna see you later or anything like that. It was basically a tide of people who were all there, happy to be there in brotherly love, and they was together. That is kind of what the satellite community is going to be like, brothers and sisters. And because it's going to be like that, it's going to be, and again, I must reiterate, because I'm in security and I'm a realist. Yo, there is going to be crime.
Yeah, of course. Listen, if everybody's thinking that there's going to be some goddamn utopia where everything that you don't like doesn't exist, you're a fucking moron.
Word. You know, like my youngest daughter.
You know, let me say something about the homosexual thing. You know what the tricky part about the whole homosexual thing is? The people that railed against it the most are actually the gay people.
Yep.
Nobody's admit. It's like the homosexual community is like the porn industry. Nobody watches porn. Yes, it's $1 billion industry.
Right. Right.
So a lot of these motherfuckers who's so anti this and anti that is gay.
Yep.
So what they're gonna do? They're gonna kill themselves?
Max 611 in the house.
Peace, Mac. Thank you for having my back, Mac. But can I tie this all together? Because like you said, we get ready to wrap it up. But I want to tie, like I know people say, oh, well, we went off course. I don't think we did. I think that we're staying right on course.
Yeah.
And I can tie everything that we said tonight into satellite communities.
Go ahead. I do want to say one more thing about relationships and stuff like that, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Do that first, and then I'll wrap it up.
Yo, that's my brother. if I wasn't on radio, I'd call him something else. But either way. But so listen, brothers and sisters, it's like this. Here's the biggest thing that you have to think about when it comes to relationships, family, and all that other stuff, and that is this here. We all have to look at ourselves before we think about going into a satellite community. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, as a man, if you, or as a woman, if you are having problems with dudes before you get to the satellite community, guess what? You're going to have problems with dudes in the satellite community. You know why? You know why? The reason being is because you haven't fixed your frequency yet, and you are attracting the kind of person that is consistent with the person that you are. Satellite community will solve that.
Can I build on that just briefly?
Please do. Please do.
You know what's going to change with that person who has a problem with the opposite sex? What's going to change? That now when you pay rent, you're going to be paying into a black infrastructure. Now when you get on the train, you're going to be paying into a black infrastructure. Now when you go to work, you're going to be working for a black company or corporation. Everything that's around you will be a benefit to the nation, but your personal relationships, that doesn't change because you are who you are.
At all. At all.
So what we're talking about is controlling the context that you live in. We're not talking about controlling your behavior.
Right.
Your choices, because you're a human being and you can choose whatever the fuck you want to choose. What we want to do is we want to control the context. We don't want you to live in this context and empower this system. We want you to empower a black nation.
Right.
And now your own personal ideology and what choices that you make, if you like women that's got breasts or you like women that's got ass, what the fuck do we have to do with that?
Word.
So in order for us to move forward, we got to move forward in some utopia where everybody does the same thing. There's no crime. There's no perversity. That doesn't exist.
Yo, son, do we have a group in the BIO link site for Black mental health or therapist professionals?
Not specifically.
I think I have a good sister from Philadelphia that I want to attract to that. She's sort of like my mental health mentor.
Well, I would refer her to the health and wellness department.
Okay, cool. Because whenever I wanted to speak on any psychological issues, I would talk to her. And man, let me tell you something. If I woke that sister up 7 o'clock in the morning, right off the top of her head, she will come at me with some crazy stuff. It's like, I love people like that. But the reason why I say that is because, brothers and sisters, listen, you know, real talk, we have some serious issues when it comes to relationships. We have some serious issues when it comes to relationships, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to togetherness. And these are some things that we really going to have to address, you know, pronto, like ASAP. And, you know, it's like my mentor says to me all the time. He says, Dawud, until you fix your frequency, you have to come to the realization that you've had the same experience with different women. And that's kind of deep to me. Because if you as a man or a woman have problems out here and you are like, well, you know, in America, it sets up the dynamic for this, it sets up that dynamic for that. Here's the thing about that. That is true. It is true because, and I didn't really get to talk about it tonight, so I hope we could go on a little bit longer, my brother. But the thing is for me is that what you got to realize is that we're here and it's sort of an every man for himself mentality. So when you deal with children, it's every man for himself. When you deal with, let's just say, for instance, with single moms, it's every man for himself. And as you see, the kind of disease gets into so many different people where it's like, okay, so I want a nation where men dress like men and women just like women. I ain't with the homo shit. That's why I'm leaving America. I'm doing something I can't stand. No, I'm nobody's saying that we got. Okay. Anyway, no, I think my sister is saying the same things that we're saying, but at the same time, I don't think she understands where I'm coming from or where we're coming from. Because what we're saying is, brothers and sisters, that there are issues that you and I have to deal with. And these issues cannot wait for us to go into a satellite community or a nation of our own. We got to deal with these issues now. And having control of our infrastructure can correct some of these things, some of it. But the reality of it is that ultimately it ain't correcting everything, because the ultimate work is going to have to be us on ourselves. So for me, it's like, I'm going to be very honest with you. Just like Bell said a couple of minutes ago, I don't see transvestites being comfortable in an Afrikan.
Where is this coming from? Why are we still talking about this?
I don't know.
I'm totally like, I'm gonna ask y'all guys, am I not a right spokesperson for this thing? Maybe somebody else needs to speak, because maybe I'm not articulating this properly.
No, you are.
Am I? Because I'm really wondering about it. Why are we still talking about this as if this is some problem?
I thought
we go to the Ning site and we dealing with the BAIO within the Ning site. Nobody's talking about this stuff. So where's this men dressing like women and women? Where's this coming from?
I honestly thought I was talking about heterosexual relationships just now.
I'm totally confused, man. It's like sometimes I feel like, and today especially, I was really seriously questioning, am I the right spokesperson for the BAIO? Like, am I not articulating what the vision is properly? I mean, because if that's a serious problem or if that's a serious issue, I'll step down and let somebody else take the mic. I don't even, I mean, I don't like talking and hearing the sound of my voice anyway. But when we keep addressing the same things over and over again, then it makes me wonder, like, maybe we're not expressing it right. Maybe we're not articulating it right. Because I don't understand. I don't understand where this whole thing is coming from.
Well, all I can say to you is this: it's like we were talking earlier, and I was telling you that I almost pushed a new button on what's called on that dude that got crazy at my domestic violence class the other day, and then I had,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and I had to sit back and I had to have mercy because I realized that, you know, for those of you who wasn't, you know, part of the conversation, me, Brother Mr. Dawud, I do a lot of human service off the air here. And I have a domestic violence class that I teach on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in 2 different cities. And so, making a long story short, in my Tuesday class, a dude came up in there, you know, and mind you, the people that come to my class are mandated by parole. It's basically dudes, you know, from the prison system. So I, as a black man, try my best to be a liaison between them and the parole and really help them get back with their families. Because what it is that they have to go through my class in order to get back with their families. And a lot of these brothers, they just want to go live with their woman, but parole is telling them you got to take this domestic violence class in order to do so. So now, you know, you don't have to raise your hand and say you've been through domestic violence class, but here's what I will say. It's usually like $75 to $100 a class, but we charge $12. $12. So make a long story short, what ended up happening was is the dude came through on some bullshit, questioning them out of the class and all this other stuff, and my blood got boiling. And I said, yo, bro, please don't ask me about where the money goes or whatever, because it's a small insignificant. And he just kept going because he wanted to challenge me. So I just basically said, you know what, class dismissed. And my blood was boiling, because the thing you got to understand, brothers and sisters, is all I got to do is call your P.O. Your black ass is going back to jail. It's really just that simple. And I just wanted him out of my class, but I knew if I told this P.O. that he did what he did, that basically not only would he probably go back to jail, but that would take a man away from his mother, that would take a man away from his children. And I had to have mercy, because I had to take my ego out of it and realize that as time goes, a lot of times people come in my class on that kind of rah-rah shit. But eventually what happens is that they see how good of a person I am and how much I'm trying to help. And they calm down and they say, yo, man, it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that. You know, I got love for you, Dawud, anything you want. And mind you, a lot of times they'd be like, yo, if you ever have a problem, I'm murdering nigga. You know what I'm saying? After 2 to 3 classes.
Yeah, I know.
But yesterday I wanted to push that button, son. Because that dude's mouth was moving, and then he tried to question and say, you ain't sacrificing. I'm not sacrificing. Like, I just wanted to send them to hell. So likewise, what I think, brother, is this. And this goes for all of us in the BAIO. Brothers and sisters, we got to have patience. Land infrastructure and nationhood is not a new concept, but this is the newest way it's been presented. And I say again, it's not a new concept, but it's the newest way it's been presented. And it's going to take a while for us to get it over. You know what I'm saying? So
and we're going to lose and we're going to gain members. Losing and gaining members come with the territory. It is what it is. We've already lost members. There's been people that got impatient and said, I don't want to fuck with the BIO. Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what you fucking with. You know, if you decide to leave a group that's about nationhood and about land infrastructure, nationhood, and having our own nation, where are you going to go? What other group are you going to? Or maybe I'm assuming that people want to have a nation of their own. Because a lot of people in the conscious community ain't really interested in that. They're interested in the drama and the bullshit that goes with the conscious community.
But you know something though, bro? Here's what I would say. What I would say is that this is kind of the kind of the disagreement that we used to have with the good brother Tim Ford. Is that he would ask us, why you guys keep doing shows? Why you guys keep doing shows? And my answer is, because of shit like this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because we keep like, because Tim used to say, "Oh, y'all, we talk too much." I'm like, Tim, if you don't talk about things, then there's miscommunication, and everybody thinks that everything is one way when it's really the other. If this, and the perfect example of it, the litmus test of that is, look how many shows we've done.
Right.
Look how many times we've talked about certain things, and yet we're still talking about it.
Right.
There
Right.
seems to be some confusion about it. I've said it over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
If there is any pro homosexuality content or pro this or pro that, copy and paste it. I've done plenty of videos, cut out the audio portion where I said it or where anybody has said it, and prove it.
Right.
Prove it.
Right.
We talked about it to the point where it's like, why we even, it's over. It's a non-issue, but it keeps getting brought up by people outside of the BAIO.
Yo, you
And
know
by homosexuals. Like these dudes, man, I'm telling you, these dudes are gay.
what's hilarious though? What's hilarious is that the charges against us that keep coming will probably force homosexuals to never even think about.
Yeah, it ends up having the opposite effect. You know what's crazy? What's his name? Donald Trump and his stupid ass. When this is what a lot of things that people don't understand. When Colin Kaepernick had no intention of continuing this protest.
Oh man, let's talk about that.
Colin Kaepernick did that protest. When the new year came, when it was time for him to play football, he was not even thinking about it. He said, I made my statement, now it's time. I wouldn't go there and play the game. He wasn't going to continue. It wasn't going to be no thing where he would just from now to the end of his career, he's going to be taking a knee every time the anthem come on. He did it to make a point. The point was made. He was coming back the next season to play football. What happened? These guys, these idiots, Donald Trump especially, launched a preemptive attack against the kneeling. And what did it do? Now the football players say, "Oh, fuck you. Now we're going to kneel now." And so this whole thing really has nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick. He never went out and told anybody, "Yo, continue kneeling, keep the faith, y'all, and raising the black fist." He was done with it.
Word. Word.
So you keep like, if people keep resurrecting this shit, you're gonna end up attracting the very thing that you say you don't want.
Yep. Yo, it's ill. Like it's like I see all of this. I see all of this pride and happiness with the Nike stuff on Facebook, and it's like everybody. First of all, brothers and sisters, the funny thing about it is that, let me just say this to you: you don't have to comment on every issue that comes across your Facebook feed. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I definitely don't, because to be honest with you, I don't even know what the Nike thing is about. Like, what is it? What is the deal?
Basically, Nike used Colin Kaepernick as the face of a part of their marketing campaign, and everybody. So what ended up happening is white people, because you know what I'm saying, they angry that Colin Kaepernick protested against police brutality. Now white people is burning their Nikes and burning all their Nike apparel. So black people is taking that as a freaking victory. It's a victory.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's like, again, the thing is that, we've been getting our ass kicked for so long here that anything's a victory to us. You know what I'm saying? And I look at it, and to me, bro, you know what it's like? Again, it's like I'm in bizarro world. I'm looking around and saying, all these people, oh, I can't wait to wear my Nikes. And then there was a picture of this attractive sister with like mad Nike all over her body. And I'm sitting there like, y'all really are happy about this?
Yeah, like I said it before. Serena Williams wore a bodysuit or something.
Yep.
A bodysuit, and so Nike comes out in support of Serena Williams. And I saw that, and everybody was like, "Oh, they taking a brave stance." And I said, "Yo, the cat suit isn't by Nike. They made it."
Right. Right.
Do you think that might have anything to do with their support?
Right.
They're not supporting Serena Williams. They're supporting their own product.
I mean, you know, brothers and sisters, eventually, I guess we're gonna have to dead the satellite community discussion for next week and talk about something else. But eventually, what I would like to do with y'all, and because you know I'm gonna be here. The funny thing about it is, I be tired or sick or whatever. As soon as I jump on this show, it clears or cures every sickness I got. But for real, so, yo, son, I got hay fever. I've been taking what you call Theraflu, and I'm wide awake. But here's the thing. The thing for me is that eventually, as BIO members, while we are still mustering, you know what I'm saying, members and things like that, what I would really want to talk to all of y'all about is business. I would really want to get people together who are part of the, I want to say, electronic and electrician industry. Let's talk business. Those of you who are in the healthcare field, you should talk business. There's some of you who do natural products, like, you know what I'm saying, like you do soaps and perfume, whatever it is you do, you should talk business. Because in the satellite community, that's how the money is going to be generated, is that we all support one another. So when a person asks me, what you think about the Nike controversy? I put this on my Facebook page. I say anything other than a focus on nationhood is hypocrisy, period. Because you are being a hypocrite if you're against Nike and then you're going to wear any brand in America. I don't care what brand it is. Any brand in America. You know what I'm saying? So you could say, well, I wear Feli. Okay. I wear Adidas. Okay. I wear this, I wear that. When you come under that flag, you support the infrastructure. So therefore, what you need to do is you need to now put your mind and your focus towards nationhood. And the beginning of nationhood is what? We need to come together and start helping each other live a better quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Right now. Right now. And I see you, big brother Richard. I deal in the low voltage industry, but nevertheless, we combine a lot. Because electricians design fire alarm systems, and you know, in my industry, you know, we have to get certification fire alarm systems, so we come together. So
Let them
therefore,
know about the group, bro.
oh yeah, that's right, that's right. We do have an electricians and an electrical engineering group in the BAIO Ning site. So you know, hopefully that you visited that, and I got to go over there and do something on that site myself. But either way, and that's one of the things is like, you know, when I heard the show that you did with brother Demdala, the one thing that he kept mentioning was Jonathan's name. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so first of all, as I told you earlier today, any brother that you co-sign is official with me. You know what I'm saying? And I already know that not only is the person official to me, but it's probably going to be a really good brother. And that's what he turned out to be. You know what I'm saying? But for him to come on that show and constantly mention Jonathan's name, that in and of itself made me proud, because you know, the way that dude was articulating land acquisition, bro, that was incredible. You know what I'm saying? And for you to defer to your brother, we need to get together, we need to get together. That's pretty awesome to me. But what that shows is that's the spirit of nationhood. The spirit of nationhood is that not only do you want to be, because you know, listen, me, brother, Mrs. Dawud, I don't want to be, I'm the only one that does security here. That's bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, here's what I will say. In the I have anything. Oh, go ahead. What are your thoughts on taking it? What you call it? What was I going to say? Damn, what was I going to say? In the interest of in my local community, sometimes people be like, "Yo, Dawud, you know what I'm saying? You need to come work with us." Fuck y'all. I'm not working with y'all. Because I already know what y'all want. Y'all want me to teach you something so you could like box me out of the picture, and I ain't with it. But in a BAIO organization, yes, definitely. I'll show you how to get what I got. I'll show you how to get certified like I am. I'll show you how to be a monster like I am. I'll show you anything you want to know, I'll show you. Because the more people like me in our organization, the better chance we have of securing our satellite communities as well as our nation. So yes, I'll show you. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing about it is you know, periodically on Facebook, I will put out an offer and say, listen, I want to take 5 students. And Holip, do you know I never get even 1 student?
Yeah, I can imagine. And there's various reasons for that. Various reasons for that. I think the well has been poisoned. You heard? Oh wait, did we break up?
Speak on that. No, we good. Speak on that.
Yeah, the well has been poisoned. Like so much bullshit has happened before you came along that they just assumed that you are just as full of shit as everybody else that they met.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people become jaded because they've been dealing with bad players. You know?
Yo, you know what, son? It's like I had like 3 or 4 people hit me in the inbox, right? And they was like, "Oh, I want you to train me." I was like, "All right, what city do you live in?" And so I had one from Michigan, Detroit. I had one from I want to say down south. I was someplace from another place, right? And this is why I say I had not one. What I did on my own personal time is I went to their municipality, found the laws of how they could be certified, right? Found what license that they needed, what classes they are, found what organization they could join, sent them all that information, never heard from them again. Never heard from them again.
Yeah. We have to tighten up. This is why I'm for the professional networks. I'm getting feedback. You
Right.
hear that?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh, all right. I can hear myself talking. Yeah.
No, I don't.
All right, well that's good. Um, to get back to like there was a portion of what you had said I wanted to touch on about the spirit of the brother Dundada.
Yep.
Certain people have just fallen right into the pocket of what the BAIO is all about, and it would seem as if we've known them for years. You know,
Right.
because
Yep.
when you're dealing with people of like mind and people that's on the same page, um, that's usually what happens.
Right.
Like Belle, it seems like we've known Belle for years.
Word.
That's how cool she fell right into the energy of what this whole thing is about. Just fell right in the pocket, and a part of the crew, and a part of our family, and it was seamless. It was no learning curve or no process or some bumpy road. She
Yep.
knew exactly what we was talking about, and she believed in it, and she became a part of it.
Word.
It's simple. So when you have people that's on the fence, they probably gonna fall off the fence, y'all. And you know what? It's cool. Because for every one person who falls off the fence, it's gonna be 5 to 10 who jump on.
Word. This is true. And
The
it's
very percentage, it's like I can tell you, if I can probably go into the site and tell you there's a percentage of people that have left the BIO. It's probably 0.0001 compared to the amount of people that's in the BIO.
right.
And you get people who leave for emotional reasons. Somebody said something that they didn't like, so I don't want to fuck with you no more. Listen, the way that I look at that is this. If you down with the concept of nationhood, then you down with the concept of nationhood.
Right.
If you down for land infrastructure nationhood, then you down for land infrastructure nationhood.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
And if you can be an American citizen, despite all the shit that America has done to black people and continue to do, but you still a citizen, isn't it kind of hypocritical for you to have a line in the sand that you're going to leave a group where somebody said you don't agree with them, or somebody says something about you, you don't like their tone? Well, how come you don't take that same line with the country that you're living in right now?
Exactly. Exactly. It's crazy.
So it's called being full of shit. And I'm
Yep.
perfectly happy when full of shit people decide the BAIO is frauds. Good luck, nigga. Good luck. Good luck with you in the conscious community.
Yo, son, if you'd have heard Carlo and Dinah's show breaking down China's involvement in Africa, it's like you're gonna listen to that and then call us frauds after that. Like you really going to listen to all that information, and Colin didn't have no notes. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have no notes. It's not like he was reading off some notes off the top of his head, and you gonna call us a fraud? Like, come on, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Don't lie to yourself. You're not lying to us. You're lying to yourself. For real. But
Like if you calling the BAIO, because they're not saying that Holip is a fraud. They're saying the BAIO is a fraud.
word.
Yo, in the chat room, can y'all hear my feedback? Because I'm bugging out right now. Do you hear me talking twice?
I think Kala said he heard a little bit of an echo.
I don't know where that came from because it wasn't there before.
Well, I guess we should put a period on this now, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of here. Yeah, they said there is an echo. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're probably gonna have to follow up on this, the initial topic, and get more into the satellite community thing. But I think that this was good for me. I think it was good for you, Minister.
no doubt, no
And it's
doubt.
things that we needed to address because niggas is taking mad shots and niggas is on a tirade going against the BAIO. And somebody had said something. I think it was Avery had said something about expecting bullshit. Yo, Avery, trust me, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. As this thing grows and we start becoming more popular and people start knowing more about us, it's going to continue to be more shots taken, more people throwing up straw mans and making them seem like they real issues. All stuff is going to continue. But the real true people who know what this is all about are going to continue to keep being a part of it. And we're going to continue to grow. As long as we're authentic, as
Word.
long as we're sincere, as long as the cause is righteous and just, we can't help but succeed. The
For
people that's
real.
going to fail is the people that's full of shit. As a matter of fact, they don't have to, we don't I don't have to say they're gonna fail. They've already failed because we exist.
Yep. Yo, if they just saw us years ago, son, when it was G-Rap, Havoc, and Prodigy, and that's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now that we have all the people that we have, like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, you
And
couldn't stop us and you couldn't kill the baby in the crib and now you're going to kill it now that it's walking.
word.
You couldn't kill us in the crib. You had the opportunity to stamp the BAIO out of existence was those 8 years when Barack Obama was in office. You could have stamped us out of existence then. Why couldn't you do it? Because you a bitch and you can't do it.
Right. Yo, but listen, y'all, as I sign out, I want to say two things. First off, really think about what I was saying earlier as far as, first of all, securing the neighborhood. And in addition to that, as regards to relationships, because relationships will definitely change in your own satellite community, in your own nation, but you have to change yourself. I have to change myself. That's number one. Number two, what you call it? Next week, we're going to talk about something else, but hopefully my sister Lucy will come on my show on Sunday, and we're going to get into this kind of conscious community thing a little bit more. Also, we will get into how we transition into land infrastructure nationhood. I think that would be great. Hopefully, if not, then we will schedule for another time. But I'll see y'all back here next Wednesday.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.